Yo, Dallas Austin, man.
What's
Yo,
up, Joe?
Dallas, how you doing, man? How you been in this
Hey,
COVID
man.
time?
I've been good, man. I've been focused. That's the good thing about it. I just been at the crib, focused. I relaunched Rowdy. Um, and it's a trip, man, because it lets you know how much stuff you really didn't need to be doing. I've got a lot of stuff done over this time. I've been safe. My mom's safe. Everybody been good. I've been on lockdown, though, bro. I haven't flown since January. I haven't done nothing.
Yo,
I haven't eaten inside of a restaurant.
you haven't.
Nah, man.
You just been home. And you know, I had
Home.
your mother's cooking. I had your
Yep.
family's cooking on a Sunday. That's a serious thing going on out there in Atlanta every Sunday. That's the
Yep.
soul food for real.
Gotta look out for moms, man. So yeah, I've been good, bro. I just been focused.
You know, Dallas, I asked you on here, I know you don't really do a lot of interviews and nothing like that, but Buster was up here and he gave me the illest interview, on the big show. And then he was bigging you up on another level to where he was like telling me shit I never heard. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, yeah, and uh, artists you worked with, Madonna, you did that song right there. They don't really care about us.
Yeah.
Boys to Men,
Yep.
TLC, man,
Yeah.
like yo, Dallas, man, you had your hand in. So when you at what age did you get into the music business? I know you was in the music family, but at what age did you get did you
I was,
produce to somebody big or?
I was like 17. I did Troop first. With the I Will Always Love You song. I think I was 18 when I did that, like 17 maybe even younger actually, because by the time I got to doing Another Bad Creation, before that I did the song called Hey Mr. DJ with Joyce, Cinderella Irby, and Dougie Fresh. And that was my first like #2 record. I was still in high school then. And
How does Hey Mr. DJ,
Mr.
hey DJ,
DJ.
what you play? That one?
It's another one, and Dougie Fresh is doing it. He's rapping in it, and he's doing the beatbox at the beginning of it. And he says, "Yo, Dallas." And that's the first. I was like, I fell out when I heard that because especially then,
That's your first shout out.
that was my first shout out.
How does a guy like, from Atlanta, Georgia, get connected with the whole industry? Because the music industry is basically based out of New York or LA. How do you get to the people in New York or LA, young producer?
It was really Joyce Irby, the same lady. She was in Climax, you know what I'm saying, and the group that did Men on Pause and Meet Me in the Ladies Room. And she came to Atlanta and basically kind of connected us to Gerald Busby, who was in LA, So before, like all of us was kind of like this little. I was working lights for bands at like 13, and playing keyboards and bands and stuff like that, 13, 14 around here, and writing songs. And so when they got hold of me, it's like this kid writes, this kid plays, And so I started working up under her. Then when I went to do Boys to Men, Another Bad Creation, that's when we kind of had a falling out because she didn't want me to do the whole project because I was technically signed to her. So I ended up calling and going, yo, I'm going to do the whole Boys to Men album. Instead of just 2 songs, it was going to be Motown Philly and Simpin'. And then she's like, I'm suing everybody. And from that point, it just became the situation that I was this kid trapped in these contracts, but then people would let me work. So by the time I got to, we did Boys to Men, Another Bad Creation, TLC, and my mom was
Yo,
looking
bro,
at
you made that
yeah.
How did
And
that come about? That song is one of
the
my.
guys, man, Boys to Men are genius, man. They were like Take 6. We were all in the Take 6 back then, and they were so amazing with the way they were singing and the harmonies and stuff that by the time I did that one song, I wanted to convince them to let me do the whole record. So I went back to my hotel, listened to some Babyface records and shit. Then I was like, I can do ballads. So I came back to the studio. I was like, let me do the ballads with you. So we started working on Please Don't Go, Lonely Heart, and before you know it,
Lonely Heart, Please Don't Go.
oh yeah,
That is one of my favorite albums ever made, bro. Michael
man.
Bivins. I always thought Michael Bivins I know he discovered them. I always thought he was their producer as well. And then
No,
when I looked at the,
yeah, he was like he had Biv 10, and what he did, he came to Atlanta. Kevin Wells really discovered the kids, and put them all together. And so Michael came down. He was in Atlanta, messed with Kevin, and then they signed the kids, and they were making them a little new addition. So I was like, well, let's make them a little BBD instead, you know. So I went and wrote Aisha, and that was my first big record. Aisha was.
Are you saying Another Bad Creation? I'm talking about Boyz II Men. I thought Michael Bivins discovered Boyz II Men.
Well, it started with Another Bad Creation and Boyz II Men at the same time. So Boyz II Men is singing the backgrounds and all the Another Bad Creation shit, and the kids took off before Boyz II Men. So Another Bad Creation was a phenomenon. They took off, and then Boyz II Men came out. They were opening for the kids at one point, because these kids were such a phenomenon.
Yeah, I remember that. Aisha.
Yeah, Michael Bivins, he should have been him because Biv was the first one doing this, man. He had Biv 10, and by the time we did those projects, and you know, he was having everybody mental, and BBD was in, and so it just all started to take off, and all just started to go together at the same time.
You know, I say to myself, I look at your catalog and I'm just like, you know, I've always known you're a musical genius, one of the greats, but working with Michael, like what was that like? You know, you could actually tell somebody you worked on, they don't really care about us.
What was the biggest thing is I worked on this song this time around that we did with Biggie, right? And so I'm sitting with Michael, and he's like, you know, I really want somebody.
Oh, look, what's that like sitting with Michael when Dallas Austin from Georgia goes to sit down with fucking Michael Jackson, the king?
The very first time I sat around him, because I was working at his studio and I left and came back to Atlanta because I wasn't really working with him. So I was like, you know, I was working with the engineers. So he called me at the house and like, Dallas, come on to the work with me. So when I walked in the room and saw him the first time, he was in there with Jimmy Jam. And I was just like, whoa, Jimmy Jam and Michael Jackson in the same room. I just locked up. And most of the time when he would talk with us and stuff, first you find yourself like, you don't even want to look at him because, you know what I'm saying? You're like, that's Michael Jackson. It's like the energy of the room period is just thriving in the room with his presence. And so it was hilarious. So he goes, Dallas, you know, working on the song this time around, and I really want a rapper on this that's hard, that's good, you know. So I said, well, maybe Tretch, because, you know, maybe you don't want somebody so hard. He goes, well, he said, well, maybe a little bit hard. I said, well, what about Biggie? He goes, yeah, Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., I like him. So I called Puff, and I was like, yo, I'm working on a song with Michael Jackson. Can Biggie come out, right? So Big comes out, and he has to be like 19 something, man. So me and him sitting in the car outside, playing the track, smoking, and he's just writing the track, writing the rap, saying, he's saying to himself, yo, I can't believe I'm sitting in the car with you writing a song for Michael Jackson. This shit is crazy. So we sit in the parking lot, and I'm listening to the rhyme as he's kind of rhyming it. So he raps it to me, and I'm like, oh, well, damn, that might be a little hard. He's got, you know, listen, they got taps on the phone, motherfuckers killing me, niggas, I'm gonna kill a nigga, I ain't joking, Indo Smoke got me talking. You know, he's going in. And so I said, well, look, let's go play it for him and see what he says. We go in there, and I thought Michael was going to be like, well, maybe back off a little bit. He was like, that's amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to say. And the record was full of cursing and full of like, I'm going to kill a nigga, I ain't joking. Like,
and you know, they're probably like the two greatest artists of all time ever in music. You know, like if you think about Biggie in as an MC, as an artist, and you thinking about MJ, the king, like it gets no bigger than that.
It was crazy. It was like that's and at that point, you know, Biggie was, you know, coming in between the first and second record, so it was like it was still, you know, to him it was still blowing his mind, you know, to be.
You know, we back up because so many people. So you was around before the Dungeon Family and the ATL. You was on first.
All of us used to go to the skating rink together, right? So I met it's me, T-Boz, Rico Wade, Pat, the whole Dungeon Family, all at the skating rink. I was making records back then and coming to the skating rink and known as the kid that made these records. And I was skating. That's how I made the whole movie ATL. It's all about that same skating rink. And so they gave Organized Noise because I was.
So you made that movie ATL?
Yeah, that's about me.
With the skating and all that. That's about you?
Yeah, that one and Drumline. Two for two, man.
Dallas, this ain't normal shit. We talking about Michael Jackson, Biggie, Drumline, and ATL was made after you. And so, but Gad, continue with the Dungeon Family because
yeah. So they,
you know,
I was skating in there and I was playing my records sometimes in the skating ring. You know, well they end up giving the Dungeon Family a room inside the skating ring to set up as their first studio. So they had an MPC 60 and all that just set up in this little room at the studio, and that's where they first started to become the Dungeon Family before they got to be Dungeon Family. So I started really before everybody as far as getting the record out, as far as being the one that started to make traction around here in a new way. Jermaine was right behind me. I met Jermaine at the same time. I was 17, 18 years old. All of
skating too.
Well, he was at different skating rinks, but I met him just from being in the. I met him because he was doing Silk Times Leather. Jermaine wanted to be Herbie Lovebug back then, right? He used to have a little white, remember how Herbie used to wear the little white jumpsuit?
Herbie Lovebug, yeah.
And he had Salt Pepper. Jermaine had Silk Times Leather.
So you go. So Busta Rhymes tells me, well, really, Puff Daddy. I was at his house last night, and I was having dinner with him, and me and Khaled went over there, and I told him I was going to interview you today, and he said, you know, when I got fired, Dallas Austin, he brought me down to the ATL, and he plugged me in with Clive Davis. So,
yeah, dude.
So you were the guy who plugged him with Clive Davis so that Bad Boy can even exist.
Yeah, it was crazy because I didn't even want a label when it came to me for Rowdy, right? I was like, at that point I was slam dancing and going out to fucking rave. You know, I was in alternative rock and all that shit. So when Clive gave me the label, I kept saying, nah, you know. So when I did take it, it was labeled between me and LA. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted to put it in New York. And so I was like, all right. So I had my stuff going. The offices on 23rd Street. I had staff, 23 staff members, Karen Beasy, everybody, Vanessa. And at the time, Puff was still working over at Uptown. And when they fired him, he called me. He was basically in tears. He was so hurt that because he was to him, that's exactly where he wanted to be, is at the top of the Uptown game. You know what I'm saying? And when Andre fired him, he was just destroyed. And I said, yo, man, you got to start your own stuff. And so we looked up with Clive. I ended up giving him my Rowdy offices. He turned those into the Bad Boy offices. And I went back to Atlanta because I wanted to come back to Atlanta. I didn't want to be in New York. So I gave him
but Dallas, who does that? Do you know nobody does that? But, you know, unfortunately, with black people and Spanish people, when somebody got the plug, they won't never let you know who the plug is or introduce you. Man, that was amazing that you plugged them in.
Well, you know what happened to me, right? Is I was 16 in those bad contracts, right? And I had all those records out, and my mom was working the dishes at barbecue. So I had like 15, like at least like 10 million records sold. My mom working at a barbecue joint because the money is held up, right, between me and the production company outside too. So at that time, Clarence Avant, you know, who's friends with Gerald Busby and who's legendary, we all know Clarence Avant, he called and said, Dallas, I'm gonna get you out of this. You know, this isn't right. Y'all don't be doing this to each other. We can't be doing this to black people. I'm gonna get you out of this. So I was like 16, 17. So when he got me out of it, I went to him and tried to give him a Rolex, right? He goes,
the Clarence?
Yeah, because I wanted to give him something for getting me out of this country.
Something,
my money got freed up, you know? And this is what he told me. He said, let me tell you something, little nigga, you ain't got no money. You can't be buying me no Rolex. He said, what you do is you make sure that you don't let anybody else do this. You don't do this to anybody else, and you do what I'm doing for everybody else from this point forward. So in Atlanta, they call me dad because I'll go around, I'll go through people's contracts, I'll tell them what's wrong, what's right, because I walked through the fires already. And I've always been that way because I got taught that from him. And the way I felt, the relief of when he got me out of those contracts, I was like, I can't let nobody feel that way. So if it's any way to solve anything to help somebody, I'm going to do that. So that came from Clarence, man, and Quincy.
And I hate that, man. You know, I was telling the brother Isaac Wright was on here earlier. He got a whole TV show. You know, he got wrongfully convicted and became a lawyer. And now he represents, it's incredible. He got back 172 years. But I was telling him that you know, there's no better attorney to hire than somebody like him who been through that. And a lot of times people say, if you're an artist, you shouldn't sign the artist. But I feel like if your heart is pure and you already went through the fuckery, the robberies in the industry, you would look out for these artists.
Yeah, man.
You know, and I hate to see when people take advantage of other artists and stuff like that. So you plug Puff in and Rowdy Records offices turned into Bad Boy Records. Even when, let's go back, because before we get off the Puff thing, you know, I flew in for Miss Kim Porter's funeral, and everybody went up there, kept speaking about your relationship with her, you growing up with her. Could you tell me a little something about you growing up with her? And y'all wasn't in Atlanta, y'all was in a little town.
Yeah, bro. We were like, and what's so crazy about this story? Like, my mom and Kim, mom was friends, so they were pregnant at the same time. And so when I mean, I've never known a world without her. I was in kindergarten with her all the way up through high school, and we were best friends. And we never dated or anything until like maybe when you know, because what happened is we got obsessed with Uptown. Both of us did. We're in Columbus, Georgia, being obsessed with Uptown. I wanted to sign to Uptown so bad. We would listen to Albie Shore records. We would listen to Heavy. We would listen to Teddy Riley all day. And I was just like, man, we got to get out of here. I left Columbus and went to Atlanta. She left Columbus and went to New York. And it's so crazy how all of us ended up, because I was trying to sign to Uptown back then too. And so all of us, when I first met Puff, he was, you know, putting stickers on records, and Uptown was in Brooklyn. And so it's all been in this crazy little circle where I've known her all my life. And matter of fact, in Drumline, Nick Cannon plays my part, and Zoe Saldana basically plays Kim's part. Because we're in the marching band.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So in Drumline, Nick Cannon plays you, and Zoe Saldana, she plays Kim's part.
Yeah, basically.
Man,
you know, they exaggerated from here and there, but it's based off of the character, yeah.
You know, I would see her all the time and show her love out of respect, you know, Puffy's baby's mom's. But when I went to the funeral, I learned a lot about her, and I just couldn't believe she was just like an angel, bro.
Bro, and then what's crazy is my mom and her mom, like, so my mom, we had a soul food restaurant called Mom Bill's Diner, and then her grandma and her mom had one called the Royal Cafe, and they're right around the street from each other downtown, like this. Both of them soul food restaurants, right? And my family used to, this area is a segregated area, so all the blacks and all the military had to hang out down there. And my family had the party clubs where James Brown and Tina Turner could perform. We had to stay upstairs because of segregation. But all of us, so we would go to the suburbs where me and Kim would go to school at, you know, the white kids. But every day we had to go downtown because my mom's soul food restaurant, her mom's soul food restaurant is around the street from each other, like walking distance like that. So we always just.
And what's crazy is, so that's when they say the Chitlin circuit, when they say artists had to go do the Chitlin circuit, they talking about that?
They're talking about that because the artists used to have to stay upstairs in that same neighborhood. So it was like prostitution, pimps, you know, politicians, and anything black and fly was going on down in this part. My dad controlled that part, that area. And it was just, you know, Columbus, Georgia. it was full on, you know. We had to get out of here. We got to get out of here.
So you get rest in peace. You get with TLC. You do their whole first album, huh? Yeah,
and we had just, you know, come off of Another Bad Creation, and it's funny because when we did Boys and Men, and I was sitting there with LA one day, and he's like, "You got this girls group," and I already know Tion from the skate rink. T-Boz hanging out with me and Jermaine from same state. Wow, this is another funny story. T-Boz is a new in ATL.
T-Boz what?
In ATL, the movie, right? The character Nunu is based off of T-Boz.
Wow.
Right? T.I.'s based off of the movie. And that character.
So these were really based on people.
Well, yeah. We changed it up because we didn't have a romantic relationship, but she was a homie and she lived in another part of town, and she didn't want her mom to know that she was going to the skating rink. You know, so she would change up all the time and go to the skating rink and then, you know, come back. And so all of us, I'd known her from the skating rink before, so when they brought TLC to the table, I was like, okay, y'all want to be a group too, you know? And so from day one, we just clicked, I figured it out. I was like, we got to make them the female version of BBD and ABC, and I just write them songs that sound like the guys or the girls, you know. So when I first did Hat to the Back and Ain't Too Proud to Beg, What About Your Friends, I did all.
I ain't too proud to beg, nah.
Yeah, we had to put that video out first because the song had so much noise in it. I had like so many samples in the songs that like, because I was a big fan of the Bomb Squad. You know, I was like a fanatic of the Bomb Squad with Hank Shocklee and everybody. So I wanted all my stuff to sound like Bomb Squad mixed with pop songs. So I would take all the noise, like the PU,
that raw shit
stuff in there. Yeah, man. And so they would play a lot of TLC stuff at first because of all the noise in it.
You know, TLC, Left Eye.
Yeah.
You got any funny stories with Left Eye?
Oh my God.
You know, working with her, anything we might have never heard.
Got plenty of them. She's funny because she was such an artistic person that she was really just trying to speak up for the group all the time, but would just go like into some superpowers on. So by the time we got the fan mail, by the time we got to, it was the fan mail tour, they started off with, I think it was Christina Aguilera and Destiny's Child. So on the first tour, the very first day of the tour, the girls are getting ready. And Lisa has a boyfriend at the time, this dude Lorenzo, is a little weird. And so she comes in and tells them, you know what? I ain't going on. And they're like, so the girls like, what do you mean I'm not going on? She's like, that's it, I'm not going on. They think we're gonna be out here and get pimped out and get out. She started the whole piece of stuff. So I see the other girls get so mad that T-Bob's like, ready to punch the wall, Chili's hurt. So then we all in the room together and they're just mad, upset, like, how are we gonna come off like this? She promised she wasn't gonna be this way, right? So I said, all right. So what I did was I wrote a note, right? And I said, you know what? Go the fuck ahead, do whatever you want to do. We don't need you anyway, la 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 la, right? And put it in her room. She comes back in the room with the note because she thought it's from the girls. The way I put it is like it was the girls that wrote it, right? So we don't need you anyway. We're gonna go. Show's going on without you, la la la. Because I saw them being like, you know, hurt, mad, and crying. She came running. She came running in the room with the note, right? Yo, this ain't what I was saying. I ain't saying that. I was trying to stand up for us. And blah blah blah. They don't even know what she's talking about. They're so mad that they still don't understand. She's like, I'm not saying I didn't want to go on stage. I'm gonna do the show. I'm gonna do the show. So they were so mad, they just let her go out the room, but not knowing that I wrote the note from them.
Yeah, Dallas, you crazy. That's a Joker moment. You wrote the letter. You wrote the note acting like you the girls. And she fell for the bait and came in and was like, yo, I'm standing up. You know, a lot of times artists get bad raps, but the truth, they be standing up for the group. Last week I had Busy Bone from Bone Thugs here, and I ain't gonna lie, those are my brothers, and I always thought he was a little bugged out, and after interviewing him, it hit me, and I said, holy shit, this is the smart one. Like, you know, he was just trying to look out for his guys. He was trying to make sure his guys had their masters or had the right money to have, we older now, so maybe we've been in the business long enough so we know. So while I'm interviewing him, I noticed the Busy Bone's a smart guy. So I'm sitting here like, holy shit, I ain't know. You know, so like Left Eye was saying, yo, I was just standing up for us.
Yeah, she was always, the thing is, she's always looking out for them. And they loved her so much that when she did do something like, go back and say, hey, I'm not in the group after doing the interview, whatever, they would just be hurt more so. You know what I'm saying? Because it was all kind of things that went on like that all the time. But it was really her trying to stand up, like the story when she really went into when she really got those girls to go to Clive Davis's office, and they went and took all the plaques. She got these girls from Techwood, right, the project, and they drove to New York City and went up in Clive's office, and actually he was in a meeting with Puff, and took the phone from his ear, hung it up. This ghetto ass girl from Techwood, nobody even know, shouldn't be up in there anyway. Hung up the phone. TLC got something to say. So they're like, yo, where's our money at? They don't even know what they are. Their ignorance, right, was their bliss. Where's our money at? LA said, you got the money. And no, you ain't going nowhere. They call security everything. While they're in the office doing that, the other girls are taking all the plaques off the wall, off the Arista walls, taking them down, putting them in the car. So
they thought it was real gold and real platinum.
they thought whatever. They thought it was all real. They asking them where the money at. Like this, I'm getting the cash right now. Like, you know, they would just Lisa would get in her head that everybody's trying to screw over the group because of how they started. You know, because of all the stuff with Pebbles and the, you know, everybody when you start out in the music business, especially back then, videos are like $7 million. Like I think No Scrubs was like, I mean, and Unpretty and like the videos, even the Ain't Too Proud to Beg videos were like, you know, over $500,000 or more back then because Lionel's expensive, or you know, Hype was expensive, or so when you do that, and the math is just such a different math.
So there was an actual video that cost us $7 million.
Yeah, like the Scream video was that much, and then No Scrubs was like close to like $5 million or something like that.
That's the budget of a movie
back then. You know, if you had like, if you look at, I think the Scream video for Michael Jackson is $7 million. If you look at it now, you'd be like, that was $7 million. But
yeah, because like, you know, everybody was making too much money off the top. You know, Nori got this story. Shout out my brother Nori. He was shooting the video in the desert, in the desert by Vegas, outside of Vegas, in between Vegas and LA. Hype Williams was shooting this shit like some $1 million shit. He said a fucking helicopter came out of nowhere and landed, and it was Mr. Child from LA in the middle of the desert. Like, motherfuckers was really wilding back in them days, huh? They were spending that budget for real.
The money was so different because look at it like this. We wasn't thinking, are we going to sell 70,000 this week? We were like, are we going to sell 1 million? Are we going to sell 500,000? Or are we going to sell 2 million the first week? So our numbers were so different, and you're selling CDs for $20 a piece, right? So the numbers were way, way different. The money flow was way different. Everything was way different. The labels were making so much money. It was ridiculous. So we were making so much money, it was ridiculous because the money was different. You know, it wasn't no streaming. It was like you had to buy the CD.
Yeah, you had to buy the CD. It was different. So I'm thinking of the boy is mine, right?
Yeah.
Monica Brandy.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because there was rumors in the streets. Monica, Brandy don't get along. What was that like? Like, that's such a monument. It's so many records you've done, but that's such a moment. It's just a shift in the paradigm. It's like that's bigger than even a record. What was that like?
It was really in the trip because Rodney was working with, big shout out to Rodney Jerkins, because Rodney was working with, you know, doing Brandy, obviously. I was doing Monica. And Clyde called us at the same time with, hey, we got to figure out this concept or whatever. You want to do The Girl Is Mine over. But at the same time, because they're young, you know, they were young back then, and Monica was a totally different.
Who's the boy? Yo, Dallas, was there a specific boy? The Boy Is Mine? Was there a guy the record was dedicated to?
It wasn't even a boy. It was just the fact that they really were two different types of people. You know, like Monica was be like, you know, she's called me dad from the time she was little. She was like, your dad, I'm not dating no dude if he got no. He ain't got gold teeth and he ain't got bump in his car and rims and all that. She was like straight up that girl. Monica would, I mean, she's straight up that girl. So she's not fake at all, and she's never been that way. And so a lot of times, you know, when she would go to LA or she would have to go do stuff, like she didn't like anything. People in Atlanta are very Atlanta. So they don't really like to get shiesty no kind of way. And so it just took off, like their relationship took off like that, just from them being two different personalities, basically. And them being the same age. Brandy had, you know, I want to be down. Monica had get down. So the attitude was just different. You know, Monica's just like, I was like, she's like D from What's Happening when I first met her. Because she was so fast, so grown. And so it just elevated to where it made that sense. Everybody knew they had a different kind of standoff and persona. Everybody knew they had their little vibe where they you know, had shade with each other. But
what you say, Dallas, what you saying to yourself watching the verses the other day with Monica and Brandy? What you watching it? What you saying to yourself?
Honestly, I was saying, see, they get to see a little bit of shade themselves. They see how even everybody noticed that. That's the trip, is that when you put them side by side, as nice as they are and everything else to each other, and it being as courteous as they are to each other, it's still somewhere that the shade come in, you know, and it's still somewhere that you be like, okay, now. And so people used to didn't see Monica's reaction to the shade, but I just think that's Brandy's natural personality. It's a natural thing, but I thought a lot of people, the comments I got back was, did we just see shade? Was that why? So
yeah, I just think Brandy. I don't know. This ain't a guarantee, but I just think Brandy had her shit really going. She grew up in L.A., Hollywood. She had her acting shit going, so she did music, but she didn't solely depend on music. And for some reason, they paired them up almost like they're a group. So,
yeah.
like, Monica's like, yo, I don't even know this girl. Brandy's like, I don't know this girl. But every time you mention one, they brought the other, like it was like a group. And I'm assuming that, you know, a lot of probably money opportunities and financial opportunities could have came about with both of them, you know, going on tour and shit like that. The Boy Is Mine tour, but Brandy was almost like, you know, I'm straight. I don't really want to go on tour. And, you know, if I was Monica, I'd feel away.
I mean, it was at the biggest moment. That's, you know, because without that, but you know what? The funny part about it is, what would come along with that is the real tension of having that be a real situation. You know what I'm saying? That makes it where it's really like people backstage got to deal with each other. This got to deal with each other. And it's already hard enough when everybody like each other on tour to make sure everything goes smooth. So imagine when you're on tour with somebody you really don't fuck with for real. Then
I've seen it. I've seen it with artists. I won't say who, but I've seen groups stay in one groups. These are like legendary groups that we all love and worship. So they go do the show to get their money, but one guy stays in one side of the stadium, the other guy stays in the other. They don't talk. They don't stay in the same hotels. They go on the stage, they rock for the fans, and then they out.
Yep. And then hopefully nobody in the other crew don't say nothing to somebody else in the other crew, because it's usually not even the people, you know, the artists that's the problem. It's the crews that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's guys or girls or dancers or whoever it is. You know what I'm saying?
You know, that's crazy. Clive Davis. How did you become tight with Clive Davis?
Started with L.A. Reid. When L.A. came to Atlanta, Clive was smart because what he did was he created Arista at a point that was a satellite system, right? And I think he wrote a thesis about this in Harvard, where he said you empower one producer in the community and they'll bring you the rest of them. And then you get music out of the community. And so when we had all our labels set up there, he didn't have any artists at Arista except for Whitney and Kenny. Everything else was satellited out, you know. And I met him because L.A., when he started LaFace, he was here. I was doing TLC. I did Boys II Men, all that stuff. And he was like, I want to meet this kid. And he came to Atlanta and met with me, and he goes, Dallas, you know, you should have your own music company. You should have your own label. Your music is genius. Or this, that, and the other. And I was like, man, I don't really want a record company. I'm too young. I was like, I don't really. I was like, I don't want to do that, bro. And he was like, oh, you don't think I'm cool? I signed Sly Stone. I signed this person. I see you don't think I'm cool. I was like, it's not that, man. I just don't really want a record company right now. I'm too young. I'm just getting some money. I want to go slam dance. I want to listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know, I was just on some other stuff. So then he went back to L.A. and said, yo, how could you get him to do a label? So L.A. came to me and went, yo, look, you're hanging around these skateboard kids. You got this whole crew of people. Why don't you just do a label based off of, you know, your whole creativity? Do whatever you want on it. I said, okay, well, I can do that. He said, yeah, it'll be a little division of LaFace, so you ain't even got to worry about nothing. So, okay. So we came up with the name Rowdy, and I started going from there. And then the first thing, it was hilarious because it was one office in LaFace Records that was Rowdy, right? And then all of a sudden it turned into exactly what I didn't want, which was, we got to move to New York, and you're going to have a whole staff. So I'm like, what? Yeah. So I go to New York on 23rd Street, right? Full on staff, right? I was so Atlanta and so scared of New York at that time because I hadn't really left from down here. You know, I'm 21. So I get out my limo, I go upstairs every day. I go back to my office. Rocky Buchanan was in there, Keelan Smith, Karen Beasley. And I go in there, shut the door, open the window, smoke some weed, listen to some music, and just sit in there the rest of the day until people leave the office, right? So, because I didn't know what to do. So one day, Kim Smith comes in and she goes, "Yo, can I talk to you for a second?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Do you like everybody here?" And I said, "So?" She said, "Well, you might want to have a staff meeting because have a people. Can I walk you around? You want to meet your staff?"
You like, yo, man, they gave me a check. They forced me to move up here. I don't really want to do this shit.
But I had a dope staff. I had an alternative department where we, signed rock stuff, and I had all this. I was like, damn, this is my label. This is cool. All right, cool. But what happened was, L.A. Well, so L.A. Reid and I was partners in Rowdy, right? When it first started. That's how I was in New York and all that. I thought it was me and LaFace, but it was really me in L.A. So when he signed Outkast, because the deal was that Rowdy was going to be for street stuff and LaFace was going to be.
You had already known who Outkast was, though.
Yeah, of course, because I'm here. I was already doing rap.
Dungeon Family, skating, all that. So
because I already know the guys, and so LA said to me that when he signed Outkast, he goes, "Oh, I didn't think you liked them." I was like, "Yo, my man, you got me with this label in New York, signing the King and I, and doing deals with the Buster and all this stuff we're doing, and you're gonna sign a rap group from Atlanta to LaFace? Nah, bro, I gotta get out of here."
That's the biggest group.
Yeah, and he, at the time, LaFace wasn't a rap, for rap music, it was like Tony and stuff like that, and TLC and Damian Dame, but he just wanted to get something that would catch. And it started out with Players Ball being a Christmas song. And when it caught, he told him to take the sleigh bells out. And when he took the sleigh bells, because the people started reacting to how dope it was, took the sleigh bells out, turned it into a regular song. So then there you go, Outkast is on there. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing Rowdy no more. I want to go home. So Clive was like, no, Dallas, what are you saying? I said, look, dude, I don't want to do this no more. I'm in New York, flying back and forth. I just want to be in Atlanta. He goes, you know what? No, take it with you. Don't worry, we'll wipe it. We just want you here with us. We'll wipe. I had debt for being years up in New York. Limousines, it's different back then. We're going to be out
the motherfucking limo was outside all day.
Yeah, bro.
The weed guy was coming around the clock.
All day. So,
yo, my man Big Pun had a limo in front of his house 24 hours a day. Drivers would change shift. And it was just on the record label. It was like everything was on the record label.
I swear to God, I used to do it all day in New York. Just stay outside. The car just sit outside all night. But yeah, man. And so he just said, take it to Atlanta. If you want to go home, take the label with you. We'll start it over. So I'm like, all right, well, damn. So I get to Atlanta, and I'm like, well, now I got the same setup. I got the whole floor downtown. I said, well, I gotta find something now, because I told him I wanted an alternative label, but I got to find something now that I know I can kick off. So that's when I said, well, let me look for some artists. That's why I found Monica. And I said, well, this ain't really Rowdy per se, because we're supposed to be going another direction, but because I can put over this LL Cool J record, I can make her like this little Mary from the South, this little then it will all kind of click, So came down, popped her off, started getting Monica rolling with Don't Take It Personal, which took me 9 months to get out, because Clive wanted me to put a bridge in the song. And I'm like, dude, she's 13, man, singing just one of them days. I don't even know. And they go, well, why is it them days? Why do you say them? It's not proper English. That's one of those days. No, man, they don't say that in Atlanta, man. One of them days, bro. So, because he looked at Monica like a Whitney. Like, he thought
I never made that connection. I know that Whitney loved Monica, and now that you explaining this, I'm realizing the connection. Clive Davis, Dallas Austin, Monica, Whitney. That's how that whole thing came about.
Yeah, because he looked at, when Monica was saying the greatest love of all every time, like when I first met her, I think she was 12 maybe, and she was saying the greatest love of all. Her auntie would be like, okay, sing. And she goes, sing the greatest love of all. So everywhere she went, she was saying the greatest love of all, right? And so they looked at her as that kind of artist. So when we started to work on our album and get it done, Clive was like, well, she has to be Monica Arnold, like Whitney Houston. I'm like, no, she has to be Monica. She's 14, 13, bro. Like, she's not Monica Arnold yet. She can be that when she grow up. But because Monica's voice was so powerful and her attitude was so grown, and Clive's he loves a woman that he can put songs on and sing. And like, if you work with him with a project, he's like, I can bring some songs too. So he brought the Before You Walk Out of My Life, and For You I Will, and he loved working on it. And that's what helped Monica. That's what actually
helped. You I Will, Before You Walk Out of My Life. Those are big songs.
Yeah, Clive loved, he loved, like, it's nothing better to him than a song that gets cut and then he's sitting there listening to the singer sing it and he just loves it. So also to help.
Yeah, he loves to be a part of something. He don't just want to do it. He wants to sprinkle his sauce on there somehow.
Oh man, we were doing the Street Symphony and Monica was dating C Murder at the time. And she was so like into C. She loved C Murder. And so Clive was like, she's like, well, I gotta put C gotta rap on the song, Dad. So I'm like, all right, well, cool. So it's Clive, oh, wait, hold on, no, Dallas, you can't have a person. Now imagine back then when she's right after, she's still 14, 15. You can't have a person named Murder on the record with her, Dallas. No, we can't do that. That sends the wrong signals. You can't do it, And what's crazy is being that hard wasn't even in back then like that. So it was really considered really, edgy to him to have somebody named Murder and have somebody that's really, because music hadn't really turned into all of that really yet. It was on the verge of that when Master P was pushing it, you know what I'm saying?
So it might have been like ahead of time.
Yeah, it was ahead of his time. It was like, so, but every time, anything with Monica, we would be chasing it down. Like Monica went and got a tattoo, she's 14. She went and got a tattoo on her arm, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this dude is Clive is gonna freak out. So we started putting that armband on her arm everywhere. So people started thinking she was wearing that armband as like her style. But we had to cover that tattoo. You have a 14-year-old girl, a little black girl with a tattoo, these people will freak out, especially from the South. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, let me tell you something. Just Madonna. How did Madonna come about?
Man, it was funny. I just finished doing Creep. And everybody that Creep just took off. Creep was just crazy when it really connected. It just took off like crazy. And,
yo, that's a real fucking I listened to Creep the other day, nothing to do with this interview, and then it was like Creep, yeah, just keep it on the down low, because nobody else supposed to know. I'm like, yo, these girls was like, they talk about cheating on their mans, like. Creep was something I used to sing along, but I never really listened to the lyrics. The other day I listened to the lyrics, I was like, man, they was on some shit.
I wrote that song about as a friend of mine that was dating her, and I was like, if we ever break up, then and I knew I was hurting her, and I knew I wasn't right. And then she started dating somebody, and she was like, yo, what you expect me to do? You know what I'm saying? So when I first did the song though, I would sing it I had my MPC 60 up, right? Every day I would go in this room, play the music, and just sing the song to myself. Like when you write by yourself, sometimes you're like, you just, I don't know. I thought it sounded too country. So I would never record it. I would just walk around singing it all the time. So I Creep, yeah, just keep it on the down low. And so I'm like, man, this song is aggravating me. So I called Deborah Killings and said, can you just come record this song for me so I can just get it out of my head? So I had to record the whole song. And then when I heard it back, I was like, oh man, okay. Because I was really into Prince and Radiohead and making one word mean more than one thing. And then we would be like, yo, we on a late night Creep, man. We want to see such and such, creeping with Shorty, And T-Boz is all about, if I write songs for her from a guy's perception, that becomes her whole thing. She's a tough girl. She wouldn't sing no soft stuff. She's like, I'm not singing no soft lyrics. That ain't going to be me. So Chili would sing those. But T-Boz had that character, And so I finally recorded the record. And the last thing I did, bro, and so I didn't even save. It was up for a week, right? So if the storm hit, the track would have just left. And the last thing I did was I put that horn in there because I couldn't find a cymbal crash. And I was really into Pete Rock back then. Pete Rock used to always have. So I put that horn in and I ain't really paying no attention. And Clive Davis heard it one day and he was like, you're going to get a Grammy for this record. And I was like, what? He's like, and that horn sample, that's going to get you a Grammy. I said, what horn sample? Like that, he said the Miles Davis horn sound is going to get you a Grammy. And I was like, oh, okay. And now it's funny because even if the record is on really low somewhere and come on in a restaurant, that's what you hear first. That's the signature to the record. And I was like, oh man, and that's the first thing Clive heard. And that wasn't even like something I looked at.
I've always had luck with horns. My first song, Flojo, was horns. Yeah. My lifestyle, like I always thought, how people always got their favorite stone or what their zodiac sign is. Yep. When it came to music, raw shit, I've always said the horns is Fat Joe's, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love the horn. So you did Creep. How did you meet Madonna? Creepy?
Okay, so then that record was out, and then I got a call from Freddie DeMann one day, her manager, saying that no, she kept calling my studio. She kept calling Garden Studios, and my security guard at the front would just be like, "Yeah, right," and hang the phone up, right? So then he finally called me back and said, "Man, somebody said that Madonna calling on the phone for you." And I was like, "No, Madonna calling me." He was like, I picked up the phone twice and hung up, but they keep calling back. So I picked the phone up and I was like, "Hello," so Dallas. I'm like, "Oh shit, really?" He says, "Yeah, it's Madonna." I was like, "Oh." Now at this point, I hadn't even like I had dreadlocks down the ear. I ain't really left Atlanta. I'm a like real southern.
You're a country guy.
I'm a country.
You're Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah. I'm
well,
like,
you know, you graduated to Atlanta.
I made it. So her manager flies to Atlanta, right, to meet me first. And when he comes to meet me, I have my dreadlocks down in here. I got on blue jeans and some damn Birkenstocks and a t-shirt and just like, you know, I'm always just like he goes, "Man, oh man," he looked at my studio, you know, Doc used to have all the graffiti and stuff in it. He's like, "Oh man, she's gonna love this. She's gonna love you when she meets you, man. I didn't know you was this cool." She's gonna, cause I was, you know, really more reserved back then. So then she flies into Atlanta and we have a meeting at the studio. And then from that point, she's like, "I want you to do this record and I want to come here and work on it." And I said, "Shit, all right." But she said, "But first, you know, let's meet, you know, some more." So I fly to New York, end up meeting with her at her place in New York. Then I feel like I was on tour. Then I went to she has this castle in LA, right? This shit creepy. She had this castle in LA. It's perfect for Halloween right now.
Yo, Dallas, the scumbag in me wanted to say when you said, "Yo, so I met her in New York," I was like, "Oh, so that's where he smashed first?" The sleaze bag in me. The inner.
Well, you know what's funny though is I was so scared, like I ain't gonna lie, I'll tell this story. I was so intimidated because what the hell am I doing? Me and my man Dave Gates, right? We go up to New York, we go to our house, we have dinner, we drink wine, all this stuff, and I'm still just like, I'm still country nigga from Atlanta trying to get acclimated, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm still like, my energy is weird, and a lot of times back then I would just not say anything. And that's what would make it like even more like attractive, I guess, to them to try to like, "Hey, what, you know," I'm just like, so I would just like lock up and freeze up. It would just be like I would funk out, you know what I'm saying? Until I got used to being around her. At first, like anything else, man, you just meet Madonna for the first time. You really want to work on a project. You overwhelmed by like, just like it being Madonna in the first place. Your brain is on overload in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And then she came to Atlanta. We started working and we started making records and hanging out and going out and just kind of, she came straight to ATL style, putting her hair back and just like, I want my shit to bump in the Jeeps and all this stuff. So we did a lot of records here. And then we had this, she went and did Secret, right? The song we did, My Baby's Got a Secret. She went and we wanted to put the song out and we kind of had a little falling out at the time, you know. Because she went and mixed the records with Nelly Hooper. I did all these songs with her. And Nelly Hooper's a dope, you know, we do stuff together like my brother. But, you know, imagine somebody taking your whole works and going to mix it with somebody else. So I was a little mad. But then it hit me one day that, you know what, this is her project. So as long as she's happy with it, then I should be happy with it. She hired me, you know what I'm saying, to work for her. So I should be like, "Oh, whatever you're happy with, you know, we good." You know.
So it wasn't no smashing Madonna. Are we getting a Joker moment answer? I mean, you know, that's what we're waiting. We've been on a cliffhanger for like 10 minutes. Yes or no?
I wouldn't say smashing. I said we was hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Smashing wasn't a word back then.
You had an entanglement.
Smashing wasn't a word back then. It was called hanging out, bro. No, but I really, you know, we had a fun relationship. I was so, to tell you the truth, man, I was so intimidated by her the whole time.
Yeah, because I know she's aggressive. This girl, like, you know, from what I hear from, if she wanted something, she go get it. Like, this is what I've been hearing back in the day.
She flips, man. But this crazy because when I was about to say the Halloween story, right? So she goes, wait, before we meet in Miami, I had to go to LA. She said, well, if you're going to LA, you guys should stay at my castle. I got a castle out there that Al Capone used to own, you know. And she's telling me about like, well, but it's a little haunted, you know. It's a ghost that's there, but I can tell it's a lady and she's nice. And so I'm working in Atlanta, so I'm just hearing it like, whatever, you know. So now I go to this castle, me and my man Dave Gates, and nobody's there. She's not even there, but the housekeeper and people are there to take care of us or whatever. So we go up in there.
It's like a real castle, like the shit we see in the movies.
Yo, this shit's crazy. It had big, giant castle, heavy castle doors. It had tables that's really long, you know, like castle on the inside.
Castle.
So we go up in there. I'm in a room. You know, in there watching TV, getting ready for our meet. I'm in there drinking beer. I'm posted up like, yo, this is crazy. You know, saying, like, what the house, you know. And it's this big. It's the door to the room is all the way up close to the wall, like a big, heavy castle door, right? And so we was in there for like an hour or two, me and Dave, and then we said, all right, man, let's get ready to go. Show this JT Money video. Was doing Who Dat at the time, so I had to go to the Priority to have a meeting over the JT Money video. Dude, I get up out of there. We walk out of her room, and the door just slams. Bam! This big, heavy castle door comes from the wall, and yeah, like slams so hard that it was just like this. The housekeeper's coming upstairs at the same time, and she's like, I'm like, yo, that door just slammed like crazy. And she's like, yeah, that was the ghost. She's probably pissed off that y'all was in the room. I was like, oh, no. So I left. I still got the garage door open because I was supposed to go back. I never went back to the fucking place.
You never went back to that castle, huh?
No.
I don't want no parts of that shit either, man. You know, that reminds me of, speaking of a castle, your house in Atlanta is built like Star Wars and some shit, like a spaceship. No, real talk. Like touch the door, the shit opens. Like, what made you come up with that design of your house being a spaceship?
Man, I was always a fan of like Buck Rogers and Star Wars and all the space stuff when I was little. I was like one day I'm going out of space and all this. I was always a space head. But Lenny Kravitz, he had this designer named Michael Sis, and he had did this thing for Lenny in Miami, his house. And when I saw that house, I was like, oh, damn, I want to build a house, but I want mine round. So he's like, talk to Michael about it, you know? So I started talking to Michael about it, and we started to kind of think about it. And I was like, dude, I want this round house. I just keep seeing this round crib, but I didn't know what it was going to be. I just kept saying round. So when Michael, the architect, came back, he gave me like 12 to 15 different ones. So he drew it. I was like, oh, shit, it could look like this. And then, because I was showing stuff. I was showing Gattaca. I was showing Battlestar Galactica. But then I said, but I wanted like a Frank Lloyd Wright house, like a you know, John Lautner house. Like I was showing these old 70s houses, like some of these, you know, architects in LA that had the hanging roofs and stuff. But it took me 6 years to build a house, and I've been here 20 years now.
6 years to build a house.
6 years to build a house, bro.
I hate that shit when you build houses and they take long. And you know, I built a house where I knew every fucking window, every doorknob, every yep.
Like I'm glad.
I'm building a house now, same shit, bro. Like doorknob, the tub, my daughter's room, the this, the that. Yo, this shit be like, you know, every.
But it's better though when you build it because you feel like it feels different when you build it than when you buy something, man. You know, buying this.
Oh yeah. Because it's your own. It's your own input. It's what you want.
Yeah.
You know, I want to shout out our girl, Catherine Bruton. That's our girl.
Yes.
You know, big boss lady, BMI.
She's another one. There's another funny story with Catherine. Catherine, when she went to BMI, I was at ASCAP, and BMI only had country writers. They didn't have nobody but Babyface and country writers, right? So Catherine goes in, and she's going in new, and I'm killing it the game. I was like, we had been friends way before that. We've been friends before BMI. And when she said she's coming to the record business, I was like, oh, okay. Well, you go there, I'm gonna go there with you. So I walked in as her first dude. She's like, well, okay,
wow.
I'm here, and I'm gonna bring Dallas Austin in. So I was so happy to go to BMI because at ASCAP, I didn't know anybody. Nobody would talk to me. I want to get any love. It was like an institution. I want to talk to somebody. So I met the president of BMI. Me and him hit it off. And so Catherine goes, hey, I want to put together this tribute for James Brown as my first thing. And I want to have you, Pharrell, Rodney Jerkins, Chad, and all y'all be the JBs, the background band, right?
Wow.
So everybody's like, Catherine, how are you going to pull this off? Them dudes at the top of their game, they ain't got time for this. So they called, my stepdad was Jimmy Nolan, who played for James Brown all those years. He played guitar for him. So all those licks you hear, I learned to play those in the morning every morning. Wow. That's my stepdad that was doing all that. So I would go on the road with them. When I was little, I would go on the road with the JBs. When I was like 7 and 8, be under the organ with Sweet Charles while they're practicing and all this stuff. So here we are now. We practicing. We're going to pull the show off, right? So Pharrell's playing drums. I'm on guitar, right? Playing the same licks that my stepdad taught me to play in the morning time, right? So this shit is crazy. I'm like pinching myself around. What it is what it is.
He's like, I never thought I'd be playing this shit, right?
No, wait. So James, after he finishes the set, he goes, wait, where's Jimmy Nolan boy at? And he looks at me and he goes, y'all know how long I known this boy? And I was just like, I didn't think he even remembered.
You thought he ever saw you. He never even, you was just a little kid that was there. And but he knew you, bro.
Yeah, he kept track of me the whole time as I grew as a producer and stuff. And they were like, and he was just like, well, you know how long I've known him? You know how long he's been under my organ? When I was at practice and they were a little da-da-da. Like, when I was a kid, I used to be on the road with them. But that was like, you would think that he would still remember me from that. You know what I'm saying? So Catherine has changed BMI. Everybody, she's changed that whole place now to be a whole.
Well, I would tell you her story. I told this story the other day, but Catherine came to see me in New York. I told the story before. I hate telling the same shit, but she came to see me and I was like kind of like lukewarm, right? I was between albums, and she was like, "Yo, I'm the president of BMI and I want to write you a check for $1 million." This is when you lukewarm, and you're working on the other album, and I'm like, and while I'm looking at her, Catherine's beautiful, she's articulate, and I'm saying to myself, yo, I'm robbing this lady. Like, I'm saying to myself, while she's gonna give me the $1 million, I'm like, damn, Joe, you a scumbag, man. You really taking advantage of this woman, man. You robbing this lady. Well, I'm like, yo, I need this $1 million, right? Like, so I'm like, holy shit, right? And so we do the deal. By the way, when I was signed to ASCAP, they never gave me $1. I was signing them for like 10 years. So when I signed to BMI, all of a sudden they had to show their accounting. Checks start flying in from ASCAP. Otherwise, they'd rob me, right?
It was the same thing with me.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. So
they got mad when I first went because they said, well, how's she giving you money to come? Like, she's not giving me money to come. That's my money that's sitting there in the pipeline. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And so I go, so she gives me the money, right? And I swear to you, Dallas, I ain't gonna lie to you. I come from the Bronx. I come from the projects. Ain't too many times you turn down that $1 million check, especially when you're not really even hot at this time. So I go, all right, boom. But I felt bad about it the whole time. I was like, damn. 6 months later, I'll do Lean Back.
I don't feel bad about it because she done saved my ass plenty of times.
Yo, listen, yo, Dallas. 6 months later, Lean Back comes out. Yeah. Right? Shit, #1 in the country, this, that. I pick up the phone, I call Catherine, and I'm like, hey, Catherine, this is this Fat Joe. She starts laughing for like 5 minutes straight. So I'm like, hey, Catherine. And she was like, you thought you took advantage of me, huh? You thought you...
You smart, you know what you're doing.
She's like, I'm the biggest girl in the office right now. Thank you, Fat Joe. I'm like, holy shit. Catherine ain't no joke, boy. Nah, and she's something else. See, Bruton. Let me ask you, country. Why you went to Nashville and started doing the country music? Is because you always ahead of your time. Whether it's with the rock shit, whether it's with expanding with the Madonna. Now, you went to country. Why you went to Nashville?
I just like, man, for me, I'm a songwriter first. So I write, I don't know if people know, but I write all my songs. You know, like I've written more songs for women than almost any girls, because I was just like, well, I know what I did. Let me take my instance and flip it. So I understand where she's coming from. But I'm a songwriter first. And to me, you know, you got to cram a great song into 3 minutes. You know that. You got to make that movie into 3 minutes instead of 3 hours. You know, so anytime I would get to the point where I felt like I would hit a wall and be like, man, I don't want to get bored, then I'll go to another genre of music. And because I'm a writer, then it's easier to go write, and it's easier to help translate, easier to produce. If I get tired of country, then I say, well, I'm going to go do dance music for a while. I'm going to go work with Cedric DeBez and go do, and because I'm a producer, one of my things is when I was young is I wanted my stuff to sound exactly like whoever else's it was. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to sound like Teddy Riley and then better. And I wanted to sound like Bum Squat and then better. So anything I focus on as a producer, I didn't ever want to get trapped in a box with. You know, I didn't want to be, and it became a little like hard for a while, because if you don't make a song that sound like your last song, then they count you out. Like, oh, that don't sound like Creek. Oh, that don't sound like Don't Take It Personal. When I did,
they don't respect hits for hits. Like they don't like you know, when I did Lean Back, when I did Make It Rain did 4 platinum, but they didn't appreciate it because they was like, yo, it ain't Lean Back, or this ain't this. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? It's another hit.
For so long, no. Just think about it. If you had stayed doing the same type of record you did, then you wouldn't be here this long.
You'd be played out.
You played out, bro. That's the thing that's what keeping me is just like, I bounced from thing to thing. When I started to get, it's funny, I thought I was having the worst year of my life, because me and, you know, everybody knew I was with Chili, and we had our son Tron. And we broke up this one year, and I went to Miami, and I was like, man, I think, you know, I'm having the worst year of my life. So I started writing like Just Like a Pill for Peak, Don't Let Me Get Me, and Cool for Gwen Stefani. I was writing all these kind of songs because that's the space I was in at the time. But to me, I felt like, dang, this whole year was so dark. You know, you be in that space where everything you're hurting and everything's dark. But during that whole year, I didn't realize I had did Drumline, I had did Pink, I did Blue Cantrell, I did the group Black.
You thought it was a bad year, but you was killing everything.
I woke up at the end of the year like, how did I do that? You know, because everything felt like a blur, but my focus and my energy was like just through the roof, man. It just put my energy in all that stuff at once.
Yo, my brother, man, I want to thank you for coming on the Big Show. I love you, man. It's an honor to have you on here. Let me ask you a question. If you did a versus, who do you think is like, has a catalog to challenge Dallas Austin? Like, who's even on that level?
Well, I was joking with it at first because I was like, you know, if you look at my Wikipedia, my songs, you got to go through the A, B, C. You got to click on the alphabet to get through all the songs I got. So I said,
your shit out of control.
So then I was thinking,
who do you think can stand next to you in the verses and go song for song?
Rodney Jerkins. Rodney Jerkins.
Swiss Timberland! Swiss Timberland!
Rodney Jerkins, let's go.
Yeah,
Rodney Jerkins. You know, Rodney is a songwriter too. Rodney got songs. I swear, like when you're a fan of somebody's work like that, like when you hear somebody's shit, you're like, damn, I wish I had did that. You know what I'm saying? So Rodney, I had a lot of.
No, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. Yo, my brother, I love you. Tell your moms I said what's up.
For sure, man. Big shout out, big shout out to Busta Rhymes, man. Busta, we love you, man. Busta, my man.
Busta he said you gave him his deal with Flip Mode.
Yeah, I did, bro. And like, and every record Busta would come play me to that point. He would come play me songs. Listen to this, listen to that, listen to that. He'll play me 50 Cypher records, and then I'll fall asleep, and then all of a sudden I hear do, and I'm like, what is that? Like, so me and him been doing this for a long time, man.
Very long time. He said George Clinton used to be in the studio with y'all.
It was George Clinton, Too Short, Diamond D, Eric Sermon, Busta, Another Black Creation, all of us, Goody Mob, all in this forum at my studio, sitting there going over this damn Behold a Pale Horse book, all like every day, like we was some kind of crazy cult because we got so addicted to this book. And George brought it in from Ice Cube, and it was just, you know, there it is. And a lot of stuff, Goody Mob changed their whole mentality after being in those sessions like that.
And that's crazy because we don't know how blessed we are. So like Jay-Z never knew he had Kanye West, even though Kanye West was producing all that shit for him, but he had the genius with him. Me as a, you know, coming up, I had Cool and Dre and Khaled under my wing, and everybody was like chipping in, and you know, Rick Ross would be in one studio, and Lil Wayne would come in there in my session and just mumble a hook, walk out, and those are the legendary times.
Dude,
that
you
you got all these
through
great
Miami
minds
with those
together.
Terror Squad chains on in Miami? You kidding me? Y'all used to run through Miami with the Terror Squad chains on like crazy. Chris, that movement was just like through the roof. Storch, that shit was crazy.
Good looking, my brother, man. Thank you so much, my brother. God bless you, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
Peace.
you. Peace.
Dallas Austin. You don't know who I know. You don't know who I know. And it's looking too easy these days. Ciroc, a much finer vodka, Fan Mio, if you want to connect one-on-one with your favorite artist, but you don't know who I know. And I am killing these guys. I am destroying whoever thinks they the competition. Every day, I am smoking you guys. I'm on a almost an 8-month run. That's Dallas Austin. He wrote, oh, they really care that. They don't really care about us. He wrote, He wrote, what about your friends? Would they let you down? You guys, man. You gotta be kidding me, man. The boy is mine. We are so honored. We are so honored, so blessed to have people who will go down in history in the Hall of Fame to come on here, Instagram, with us and just tell us these stories. You know, I'm not into the bullshit, but I'm sure Dallas Austin smashed Madonna. I'm sure. He was being a gentleman about that. But, you know, Madonna, she'll put you in the headlock if she wants you. You know what I'm saying? But there is no, who's my competition? Nobody. Nobody better than me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I watch all the competition. I watch David Letterman. He ain't doing what I'm doing. He's a living legend. If anybody's the best, it's him. He ain't doing what I'm doing. Nobody better than me. Nobody. I'm sorry. If y'all want the bullshit or whatever, y'all can do that. But better than me? Can't nobody get talent. Tomorrow night, the very, very beautiful Kalani. And so what happens is every fucking night, we light this shit up. Every night we light this bitch up. This ain't a fucking game. You want me to let you lie to yourself and tell yourself it's somebody's... Nobody messing with this shit. They can lie all they want. Nobody coming like this. So far, ATL, I can't even mention who we had. The Dream, we had T.I., we had Jeezy, we had Jermaine Dupri, we had the Goody Mob, CeeLo, I mean, everywhere. LA, whatever, Be Real, Snoop Dogg, who the hell you want? I'm not going to... One thing I learned from Kanye West, who's been my favorite rapper for the last 10, close to 15. Hey, C. Bruton. Hey, what's up, Catherine? This man, they made the movie ATL about Dallas Austin. Drumline. This ain't regular people, man. This ain't no regular degular shit. This is the biggest shit in the game. Love you, C. Love you, Catherine. And we the biggest in the game. Ain't nobody be. Shout out to Revolt TV every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Ciroc in the building. Fan Mio. Wild Cherry Pepsi on Fridays. But I don't stop. And so I'm like, love you, Catherine. I'm a pit bull. When I grab some shit, I grab some shit. The shark smells the blood, it's over. And so I went into the journalism because I watched them jam up all our favorite artists. Your artists go there, hey, yo, what's up, living legend. Next thing you know, they jam them up for the clickbait. They saying all type of crazy shit in the headlines. And they fucking our icons. And so Dallas Austin don't have a problem coming on here because he know the one thing I'm not going to do is jam them up. And we're going to hear about greatness. And we're going to celebrate our greatness. We're not with the bullshit. You know? And that's what we do every night. And Kalani, she don't like interviews. She don't like interviews. But she said, you know what? I watched the Fat Joe show. And I like that he don't try to jam people up. He celebrate. And he big the people up. And so that's where we at with it. Everybody vote, vote, vote. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't look at the TV. We saw that with Hillary. Oh, she's going to win. Oh, don't even bother for you to vote because she's winning by so much. Vote. Take your ass to vote. There's no way around it. Take your ass to vote. Go. Take an old lady. Take an old man. If you can't vote, take somebody in your community to go vote. Put God first. I'll see you tomorrow night. The Fat Joe Show. We don't vote Trump here. So I know I got fans. Listen, guys. I know I got fans that are Republican. I got best friends that are Republican. I'm sorry if it bothers you every time I say I vote Biden and Harris, but that's just my preference. If you voting Trump, I'm not looking at you crazy. That's your preference. You know, that's what it's about in America. And that's what I'm about. You know, and if you follow my career, you know, for over 26, 27 years, you realize I speak what's on my mind. And I'm true to what I believe in. I did vote, guys. If you would like to go back to my Instagram, a couple of days ago, you will see I voted. You'll see me at the voting. And I challenged Timberland. He voted yesterday, and he put it on his Instagram. I'm waiting for Khaled to go because I challenged. Michelle Obama asked me to challenge two of my best friends. I challenged Khaled, and I challenged Timberland. And I was scared to challenge Nori because he might be on some CNN shit. You know, I was like, yo, wait a minute. I might fuck up with Nori. Nori probably, you know, he might wake up on the wrong side of the bed like, fuck all y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I went out there and I voted. So go out there and vote. Put God first. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. God saved my life so many times. He has revealed himself to me in my life. You know, the fact that I'm alive or I'm not away for 30,000 years is the man, you know, the man, he's been blessing me my whole life. And so God is very real. Keep the faith in good and bad times. And you all know Fat Joe's slogan. Let your darkest moments bring your most clarity. Let your darkest moments bring your most clarity. And basically, that's what Dallas Austin just said. He thought he was having a hard time one year. It was dark. It was bad. And when he looked up at the end of the year, he did pink shit. Everybody's shit. Blue Control, this one, that one. So, stay focused. The big show, the biggest in the game. See you tomorrow. Kalani. Bye-bye.